All right, TikTok is back up. So I was saying, and that cow's it. Joshua is still down there. As a matter of fact, Joshua was commenting earlier. We'll talk about him. I just pinned the TikTok so that you all can see it. All right. So the first thing I want to say on behalf of my family and I, we appreciate all of the support. I want to say I am so sorry for all of the ones who have expressed that you have your own stories. I'm also, I won't use the term surprise. I won't say that. I am shocked that those to whom were not a part of. So there are two categories to how we talk about this. There are some of us who were born. I was born into the church. There are some of us who were a part of it, like 24/7. And then there were the others of you that came and went and what have you. I'm surprised to hear so many of the ones that came and went who have these encounters and these experiences. And we'll talk more about that um, later on. But we appreciate the support, the being heard, the being recognized, the being noticed, the fact that there are those to whom are standing with us and saying that, you can see that we're not making it up, that we're not trying to gaslight, that we're not trying to. It's not even my desire to blow it up for the sake of all of this viral stuff that's happening. That was never the intention, because the fact of the matter is I've been talking about this for years. This is not new. So that I did see last night there was this continual question of why are you talking now and what. Well, I didn't just start talking about this. People who follow me on social media will know that I have talked about this for quite some time. I've been very vocal about the fact that they were doing my family wrong. So let's updates. So as you know, Saturday I went and got my mother. Now my mother's doing all right, but I want those of us who believe in prayer and things like that, keep her in prayer, because this is a really brand new normal for my mother. I'm 35 years old and I was born into that church. And so my mother was there before I was born. My mother has been in this for 30 plus years, 35, 36, 37 years, something to that degree. And we moved down here to South Carolina in 1998. That's when all of the crazy controlling stuff happened. But here she is now. Today is day one of a brand new life that she doesn't necessarily make. It's something she dreamed of, something she thought about, hoped for, what have you. I don't know, but whatever. So pray for her in that regard. But she's okay. She's getting through, and we're going to make sure she's good. So let's talk about my grandmother. So as you know, I went there Saturday hoping to get my grandmother. So let's, and the conversation has been very vast. I've seen a lot. I will also say I've been delayed in responding to some because I can't respond to everything. I've been trying to take time. Literally, I've slept 2 hours in the past day or so. I woke up yesterday morning and I did not lay down until 4 o'clock this morning. And I took a 2-hour nap and then got up at 6 o'clock and started getting ready for church, because yes, we still go to church, and yes, we still love God, because he doesn't determine who God is for me. And so, yeah, I went to church, got out of the first service, went to another event, and so now I'm back here. I still have not quite laid down just yet. Is it skipping for anyone else? Are we having reception issues? Please, if we're having reception issues, let me know. I'm sorry. I'll do what I can. I don't know what I can do, but I'll see what I can do. But so we went Saturday to get my grandma. Okay, I see TikTok saying they're good. Facebook, you all are having a skipping issue? Okay. Okay. It might be a reception issue. Okay, cool. All right, so we went to get my grandmother on Saturday. Now, I fully expected my grandmother to not be okay with leaving because she did not know that my mother was leaving. Because when you get ready to leave the commune, you can't just say, hey, I'm leaving, blah, blah, blah. There's no one over there who left that way. Nobody. If it's anyone, I'm not aware of it because everyone I know of who left had to sneak away. Me being the primary one that I can tell you the story of because I know my experience better than I know anybody else's. So when my mother indicated that she was ready to go, we started kind of putting things together, find out, what our schedules look like in order to get her out of there. So ahead of going, and at this point, this is known information, and it's really going to be known when business opens tomorrow. To all who are asking, did we notify anybody? I filed a report with DSS for elderly abuse on Thursday because I know it takes 24 hours and all of that stuff. Yeah, it is Harriet Tubman type stuff, and I got a whole lot I can say about that too because there are others that I have been instrumental in helping get out of there. I filed a report with DSS on Thursday, and I told them specifically 2 things were going to happen that directly involved my grandmother when we got my mother out if my grandmother chose not to come. The one thing that was going to happen happened an hour after we got my mother out, and that was that the phone was disconnected or turned off or whatever they did with it. Knew that was going to happen. The other thing I told them that was going to happen was that I would be trespassed from the property. Y'all, I got a phone call today at 5 o'clock from Clarendon County Sheriff Department where they called me saying that my grandmother requested that I be trespassed from the address at the house that she lives in. Now, I can tell you I have no doubt in my mind that didn't come from my grandmother. And the reason I can tell you is because of the fact that the pastor down there, Dwayne Johnson Sr., has a niece or a cousin of his that lives in his house. And when her family came to rescue her, he trespassed his own cousins. This is what he does. And so I had the officer send me the document by email that says that I cannot come. And now the other thing is, some of you who are aware of the situation will know we were already on the fence about the whole thing anyhow in regards to the fact that he didn't want us on the property, which is why I took the police there in the first place. So law enforcement has been actively involved. They know what's going on, so much so that when I called to set up the meeting to meet law enforcement off of the property, they said, oh, is this Mr. Long? And is this involving your grandmother and your mother? So they know. I did everything on my part that I can do. When we got there, my mother had all her stuff by the door. And so I went in the room and I said, Grandma, at that point, we decided to tell Grandma, okay, my mother, your daughter is leaving. You're going to be here by yourself. And now, let me also say, have faith. People are lurking. I've seen people who are still down there who are in my story. I've seen people commenting and saying things. Many of them blocked me about 2 or 3 years ago when I started sounding the alarm about this. But come here, I can't. Oh, on my phone? Okay. Many of them started sounding the alarm. Tell them to double tap the screen so that people can see the live. On TikTok, they said double tap the screen so more people can see the live on TikTok. All right, I don't know what that means, but y'all TikTokers know what that means. I don't know what that means. So when I was setting everything up, I anticipated that my grandmother would get in this little frenzy. So it's not that we didn't know what was going to go on. Now, my grandmother has told me out of her own mouth things that make me know she's not happy there. And now, the have faith folk, the other thing that I said to y'all last night was going to happen was that they were going to start putting the lies out, saying I'm lying, saying I'm a manipulator, all of these things. It's begun. People who are not, now nobody from Alkalu will say anything. Nobody from Alkalu, nobody who is in Have Faith down in Alkalu will say one word. But a friend of, so the pastor has a sister named Faith Johnson who runs a travel agency and do all kind of other stuff. And this woman who is a good friend of hers said some things. And then a cousin of theirs said some things. So they've already started the little smear campaign. I'm not worried about it because at the end of the day, my truth will outrun your lies every single time. That's the first thing. The other thing is, I call names because of the fact I'm not worried about anyone suing me for defamation because it's not defamation if it's true. And there's nothing that I'm saying that cannot be corroborated. The other thing is someone texted the Bounce House people and asked about this whole deal with them being affiliated with this cult. And that individual posted it in the live stream last night, but I didn't get the chance to see it because of the fact that I seen it 3 o'clock this morning. And so they said this mental the individual asked, is this still Miss Kitty's? And they said yes. Said okay, because old Miss Kitty's property is being shared on Facebook with an association to a cult. This is the response of who I would assume would be Tyrone Brailsford Sr., who is the owner of exactly Christy Richardson. I'm begging them, please take me to court. I would love to. Listen, y'all, I am not a confrontational person unless I'm right and I know I'm right. And when I'm right and I know I'm right, there's no limit. So at the end of the day, I want to stand in front of a judge and I want to talk. And the other thing is, you're attacking me personally. Gretchen Montgomery said, you're attacking me personally. And she said, too many people can attest to this. So they're attacking me personally. And my thing is, you fussing with me. But what about all the hundreds of people now who have come out with their own stories? So all these years that I've been talking, it's just been me and a few others saying these things happen. So it's easy for Dwayne Johnson Sr. to say, no, they're lying and they're manipulating and it's not true and yada, yada, yada. But you have other people who are not the 24/7 Have Faith folk who can talk about hearing beatings, who have posted on these lives about the fact that all of these things have happened. So deny me. Say I'm lying. Cool. What about everybody else that's coming out of the woodworks? What about all of these other people who are saying, I knew something was weird. I knew something was off. What are you going to do about that? Because I just got on live and talked about the fact that I got my mother, but my grandmother will not come. I don't know what to do. I believe we all can agree that that was the first live. TikTok, maybe y'all will know. I don't know if you'll know or not. But you can go on my Facebook page and all of it's going to be made available on my YouTube page. And the other thing is I'm going to move all of this from my main Facebook page to its own page because there are too many stories. There are too many encounters. There are too many people who have these experiences for it to just be me talking. There are people, I remember we was at school, Sister Johnson, his wife, slapped Josh. Okay, so there's another one. I'm going to pin it for just a moment so you can see it. Yes. Vic Warren, these are the same people. We all came from the church in Somerton. And we came from the church in Somerton and they started buying up all of this land in Alkalu in 2003. And so that's how we got to the commune in Alkalu. I remember Sister Johnson, his wife, slapped Josh. Okay, this individual who's speaking, I don't know him. And sir, I'm sorry I don't know you. But I can tell you this, he's not one of the people that I grew up with. So if I'm lying, then it seems to me that everybody lying. Right? And this is my problem with people like that. That first of all, let's go on and clear the elephant in the room. None of this would have been a conversation if you just allowed. I was prepared to forgive the beatings, prepared to forgive the manipulation, prepared to forgive the emotional abuse, the way that he talked to me, and the way that all of them handled us. I just wanted a relationship with my grandmother and my mother, for them to be around their children and grandchildren, for us to have the normal family experience. Now, because of the fact that they decided that they didn't want us around. My mother and grandmother did not drive, so they made it difficult. And our family was always the lowest on the totem pole over there anyway. My mother, can you not have the police do a welfare check on your grandmother? All of that are things that we're working on. And I will say the sheriff department is actively aware of what's going on over there. So the point, cut through all of it. The point is that all three things that I told y'all was going to happened in less than, we talking 24 hours later. So it's not even 2 or 3 days. The phone was disconnected, turned off, or whatever. I was trespassed as of 5 o'clock today. And then now he's lying. In the Kitty's Bounce House inquiry, I'm assuming this. The person who texted whoever this Kitty's Bounce House representative is said mentally. Let me also say, because I know someone from Have Faith is watching. You don't get to insult people and can't speak properly. Do something about that. Because the grammar in this text is terrible. So I'm going to read it the way you typed it. And then I'm going to correct it for what it should have said. It said, mental ill young man did that. I heard HERD about it. I don't follow up on crazy stuff like that. Well, sir, ma'am, whoever. It was supposed to say, a mentally ill young man did that, period. I should have been capitalized, but you have it lowercase. I heard is spelled HEARD about it. I don't follow up on crazy stuff like that. Let me first say this. So was they sex trafficking? Boosie Boo, I can't say that because I don't know that to be the case. What I can say is at this point, I don't personally say what happened or didn't happen anymore. I don't say that anymore. So I just, I know people have their own stories, and I allow people to tell the stories. Okay, so they're reporting back. I don't know what all that means. Yeah, TikTok, I'm so sorry. I don't know what half this stuff means. I can read your question and answer them, but I don't know what some of this stuff means. Dejon Mac Weston, he doesn't remember you because he was... Yes, anyone who came around after 2010, I won't know you because I was gone by then. I left in December of 2009. How many kids go there? The school doesn't exist anymore. In theory, they have a sign up and they say they have a school. They don't have a school anymore. They have a glorified daycare because they graduated everybody early with diplomas that don't work. And someone contacted me today talking about that we were listed as homeschool children, which is why the diplomas don't have seals on them. And so all of this stuff is it's been ongoing, and it's been for years. This conversation, and the thing of it is, I'm not even fussing and arguing so much about the things that happened before I left, because the idea is, so y'all couldn't leave because they locked y'all in or what? Well, Boosie Boo, the first thing is, yes, there was some case of physically being locked in, and remind me to talk about that. But you don't have to lock someone in physically if you can lock them in mentally. The old saying, so my degree is in history. I teach social studies. And it's been said that the reason that slavery was so effective is because if you put chains on someone's mind, you don't have to worry about the ones on their wrist. The biggest thing that goes on down there is the fact that he mentally has wiped everybody out. They're afraid of him. You cannot get them to talk. Anyone who's not... It was so severe that if a car pulled up on the property that wasn't normal, Ella Brayford, who acted as security, would go check it out to make sure it ain't somebody trying to get them, because at the time he owed Paul Burke all this money, who he bought the land from, and they would and so let me go on and talk about the cousin who was stupid enough to get on my live talking about not on my live, on the post, saying if you have all these allegations, where's the proof? The proof is in everybody that's telling their story. But let me also talk about the fact that your cousin got over on you, because your cousin put a house in your name and the house got foreclosed on and y'all lost it. A company in Texas bought the house, and then Tyrone Brailsford Sr. used his military loan in order to go save the house, get the house back. Which is why that house is in Tyrone Brailsford Sr.'s name right now. If you think I'm lying, go to Clarendon County GIS records and check it out. It would be the third house on the end When you go all the way down in there, I don't know addresses, so it might be like the address might be 1407 or something like that. But it would that house would be in Tyrone Brusford Sr.'s name because he was the one that was able to get the loan to get the house back after it was taken. How did they acquire all the children they had in custody? They preyed on single mothers who were losing their children. That's how they got us down there. My mother was in a situation where we were in trouble. My mother up in New York. And that was the case for most of them. What about the revitalization project they were doing? What happened to that money? If they ever got the money, it was misappropriated, I would imagine. I don't know. We've been hearing things about hotels and gas stations ever since they started the project in 2003, excuse me. He was my best friend in high school, but I lost contact with him after graduating. Who are you talking about, your best friend in high school? I don't know. I don't quite know who you're talking about. And I never would have imagined this was going on behind the scenes. There's so much that was going on. There's so much that was going on. So all these people live in the houses on your Facebook Live? Yes. With the exception of one or two people. Oh, okay, yeah. So what Dwayne Johnson Jr., what tends to happen is that, first of all, they have this elitist mentality where they think that they don't need people, although they want people to give them their money. They live with this idea of, if I can't get nothing from you, then I cut you off. That's them, 110%. So if you lost contact with them, it's probably because he didn't see a need to have you in his life because he was not benefiting from you. Do they own all the yellow houses? So the yellow house that was a church, yes. And then the lighthouse, the 2-story building, yes. I never understood how so many fit into the trailers that were behind the lighthouse. Yeah, we were crammed in there. So my brother and I stayed with Ella Brayford, and there was about 4 or 5 other boys that stayed with Ella Brayford as well, along with, what are you reaching for? 4 or 5 other boys that stayed with Ella Brayford as well. So they made it work, and then they, one by one, built up all of those big houses, and the one that is fenced in is not their house. That is privately owned by someone who they were able to get to buy the property. Pin Aunt Janice's comment. I have to go back and find it. My Aunt Janice is on here. This is my grandmother's sister. She also he confronted me. Okay, here we go. This is my aunt. This is my grandmother who is down there. This is her sister. Because they saying I'm lying. So let's talk to some other people. He confronted me and my husband when we went on the property to see my own sister. Let's also talk about the fact that when their mother was dying, my grandmother was not allowed to go to Florida until they did a few trips down there. But if my mother is dying and I know she's dying, I'm going to be there until that process is finished. That's not what happened with my grandmother in regards to her mother, which is the mother of my grandmother and my Aunt Janice, whose comment I just pinned. Is the owner from Florida. The owner of one of the houses is from Florida. That's the house that's on the corner. The beige looking house, that whatever color. That house is owned by Faith Johnson, who is from Florida. You can find that online. All of this is public information. All right. When I first stayed at the house next to the lighthouse, the energy. Oh, yeah. So that's the house that I was just referring to that someone on TikTok asked, is the owner from Florida? Yeah. And they called that the model house. So why can't you leave? How are they stopping you? Okay. So, it's a twofold thing. So you first got to work up the courage to go tell him you want to leave in the first place. And nobody's brave enough to do that. So that's why you have to sneak off, because you can't tell them I'm packing up and I'm going. But there are stories of people being in houses with, well, I don't got to say there are stories. My godmother had a brother who was a veteran, who was paying $2,500 a month to live in the house that he was in. And there was a security system on that house, and we did not know the code. When they got ready for us to get out, they came and let us out. And when they put us in for the night, and it was my job to watch him, to babysit him, they put the code on, and we didn't know what the code was in order to get out. And at one time, that was the case, that all of the houses had those security systems on there. So there is this piece of people being locked in at one time. I don't know if that is the case now, but I can tell you for a sure guarantee, without a shadow of a doubt, that I know I was in a house that I couldn't get out. Well, I could get out, and I'm out, so I'll tell. And it came out anyhow. The back door didn't have a sense on it, so we went in and out the back door as we pleased. But they didn't know that. When they found it out, I was in a little bit of trouble. I met him one time, and he was acting weird. I'm sorry you went through that. Prayer for you and your grandmother's safety. Yeah, we're definitely praying for her safety. And I hate that her mental is so weak that she can't make a sound decision for herself in regards to this. And it's not that she's disabled, it's just that she is mentally enslaved to them and to this. So how are they stopping you? It's a mental thing, one, because you have the stress of, if they find out. My mother couldn't even tell her mother that she was moving off the property. We told her while we were packing my mother up. My sister, the deputy sheriff that came with us, and my mother were putting the stuff in the car while I was trying to tell. I told Grandma, Mommy's leaving. This is it. And so, in case y'all trying to give my grandma a hard time down there, because I know how y'all do things, she did not know. We didn't tell her until the last minute, because we knew the first thing she'd have done is got on the phone and called you and told you. And for those of you who might be watching this, go let them know that got me blocked, because I know you're reporting back. I won't call your names, but I've seen you in the story. And so, does your grandma have dementia? No, she's just terrified. She's scared. And so, and this is what he thrives in. He thrives in being domineering. He thrives in silence in a room when he walks in. So when I was there, whenever he would call me in a meeting to talk to him, I couldn't even sit and have a conversation like this with him because the whole room would be spinning. Didn't know at the time that those were anxiety attacks. Here I am, 16 years removed, and May 13th, you'll see where I talked about the fact that I still have dreams, frequently. Only to find out that somebody who is much older than me still has dreams. Kiera Pimpleton Ross said, the things he will say to you make you feel like filth. Yes. Do they run a food truck? Also, yes, it's called the Piece of Paradise food truck. He will make you feel like the dirt that you walked on is better than you. And he enjoys doing it. I can tell so many personal stories of times that I was just berated out of the clear blue sky for no reason at all. Literally, one day I walked into the building. I walked from the house where I was staying to what was the school at that time. Walked in the building. He was fussing with the young man that is now married to his daughter about something. None of y'all are going to USC. None of y'all are going to USC. And as I walked in, he said, because this knucklehead messed it up for all of y'all. Because at that point, I had been kicked out of school. Now, I had nothing to do with the conversation. I had not one thing to do with it. I was literally just walked in. But whenever he's in a rage, whenever he's in a rant, whoever wants it can get it. And you can be an adult, child, man, woman, boy, girl. Don't matter. Tijon Conyers, definitely a fast talker. When I met him, God told me he was a Moses and a Pied Piper. He would sell ice to an Eskimo. So his most recent irritation with me was that I think I said this last night. I own my church because my grandmother bought and paid it off. Not the grandma that's there. This is my great-grandparents who started the ministry that I now lead. My grandmother bought that church and paid it off. And when she died, I succeeded from her. I was the one next in line for the church. My home in Florence, my wife and I bought and paid that house off. He found out my property was paid off and wanted me to sign my property over to him. And when he realized that it wasn't going to happen, yeah, he's still around, but he runs back and forth from New York to Florida. He's very much still around, though. He's in New York right now. All right. When he found out I was not going to sign my property over to him, he cut communication with my mother and grandmother again. Michael Blandon, I thought, I'm not going, I'm, because he made a B on a test. Yeah, that his son used to act the same way at school. Yeah, they're elitist. They're very elitist. They think that the sun rises and shines on them. Everything is about the Johnson sharing a story about. That's AI summarizing what we're talking about. Bless TikTok's dear darling heart. And so that's where things are. Y'all have been already asking questions. Now, I know that there was some that wanted to talk and tell your own stories. You'll have to come on TikTok for that. And if you are already on TikTok, is the law scared of them? Oh, that's a funny question. If you want to be a guest, go to TikTok, and when I see you, I'll invite you to be a guest so you can tell your story yourself. I don't want to say the law is scared of them. I think that, yes, they do. Well, my sister answered that. I think that it's a complicated situation that nobody seems to be very interested in digging into. I don't think the law is scared of them, Amos and Era. I think it's just that they don't. Oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. To dig into this would start to pull at a lot of other stuff in Manning. And I don't want to. My sole focus in this conversation is to talk about my experience with Dwayne Johnson and those who are there in Alcalá. I don't want to indict anybody else who was around, who may not have known the fullness, but it's an ugly situation. It's a sticky situation. It's a tragic situation. But it is still a situation until DSS or the Attorney General's office or whoever I call tomorrow to make them even more aware of this situation becomes actively aware of the fact that my grandmother is now, we don't have contact with her. And I can tell y'all, I'm not crazy. There's nothing about me that's confused. My grandmother did not trespass me from that house. First of all, let's start this. How would the grandmother who don't have a phone anymore call the sheriff department to trespass me? That's a little hard to do. Who was the LL Cool J lookalike that was with y'all at one point? Who was the other pastor and wife? So there have been so many people in and out that I don't quite know. Who you might be talking about in regards to the LL Cool J lookalike. You might be talking about the guy who was helping build. He was helping fix houses. I think I know who you're talking about. He was not a part of it. They paid him. He was a friend of. If we're talking about the same person, he was a friend of the sister Faith Johnson, and he came in and just did some work and then left. All right. Making sure I'm not missing anybody on TikTok. If you have any files with you, I can forensically analyze for you. So I don't have anything because I've been gone for too long. And they don't. So the way that he functions, his oldest sister, Diane Johnson, was my grandmother's power of attorney. My grandmother doesn't even have her information. They have all of her paperwork. They have everything that, so the game plan, so let's go on and get specific because I don't think that we have anything else to lose. I am going to highly recommend that there's a financial audit of both of her accounts. And we're going to look into what checks were written and who was signing them. Because there is one account that my grandmother never authorized. Can't tell you not one transaction that happened in that account. I can guarantee you from 23 prior. But I can even go further and say probably from yesterday prior that she had no access to that account. That account was controlled by, at this point, Valina Johnson, who is her new power of attorney because Diane Johnson can't hardly take care of herself at this point. Was they friends with a guy named Lee Spencer? I don't know that name, so I don't know if that may be someone they affiliated with after the fact. Shantae, I'm seeing this Shantae. Kiara, would that be you? Is number 2 in law enforcement? No, he used to be in the military. He used to be in the military. He's not law enforcement. Okay, do you want me to invite you on? Was the Bruffers mean to you guys as well? Sister Brussford was not there. She learned to be complicit with what was going on. But Elder Brayford, yes, emphatically, the one who owns the bounce house business, did horrible things to us. And so, how is your mom? My mom is on day 1 of a new life, and she's doing pretty good. So Elder Brayford is the assistant pastor and is one of them worst. Is one of the worst. Like, so Quasima Scott, you asked what about Mrs. Pass Brailsford? Okay, I'm gonna add you, and then we'll give you the opportunity to let me see here. How do I do this? Oh, yes, it's me. Invite as a guest. There we go. All right, the invitation was sent for to join as a guest. All right.
Hey.
So, I'm those of you who are on Facebook, you might be able to hear this, um, based on the TikTok live stream. If you can't hear it, or if you want to see it, or whatever, you go to TikTok, but maybe you can hear it. And I'm gonna let her talk for her part, and yeah. So, Kiara, take it.
I was on your Facebook Live and I just seen familiar names and it's like frustrating because it's like, oh, how do we know you're telling the truth? So I wanted to come on here as a familiar face because there's no reason to lie about something so serious. I wasn't there as long at all. I did not grow up in it. I came in from the outside and I can attest to my heart pounding right now.
Because talking about it gives you anxiety.
It does, like I'm
Remembering
shaking.
gives you anxiety.
I'm
Going
shaking.
there gives you anxiety.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
like I try not to even pass that direction because of the memories and things, down to like our conversation earlier, about how a lot of you guys were kept from me, because I came from the outside, but the way that he made me feel so dirty and disgusting and beneath everyone who was around, especially like I brought up the DC situation, like we were all young, so um, when the kids came to my room, like we were just talking, hanging out. No, there was no problems. And when I got talked to, I wanted to leave. I called my mom. I tried to get my mom to come get me from DC. I cannot remember word from word everything that happened. I remember people getting in trouble, someone getting in trouble when we rehearsed, everything getting dead quiet when that man walked in.
Yep.
Um, they were not allowed to talk to me even after I left. I remember being blocked down.
Yeah. Because when you
Um,
leave, you're excommunicated.
I remember being blocked down. I seen Elder Johnson and Mother Geneva and uh, Walmart maybe a couple times and was shook. And I spoke and I went on about my business. The way I dressed was not good enough. He wanted to control what I dress, how I dressed. My nose piercing that was in my nose, I took that out when I was with you guys.
Yep. Because they
Um,
didn't allow
they
that
did
kind of a
not.
thing.
They did not like the hair colors that I was wearing. They didn't like none of that stuff. Because remember when I was in DC, I had that red, like I had that, and then my dress had that the cross things in the front, and it wasn't like modest enough. It was showing
Yes.
too much this and that.
And if I can input, the other thing was nobody was allowed to outdress his wife.
Oh, that's
So
what it was.
yes, I can tell you there was a time in Somerton that he was up preaching, or talking or whatever, and the individual that can corroborate this for me is my godmother, who she ain't, obviously she not social media savvy, but he got up in church and said, I don't want no sisters in this church wearing a hat except my wife. This was before the Alkalu days. This was back in the Somerton days. Nobody was allowed to wear. And when he said that, my godmother came home and put up all of her hats and did not wear a hat to church from that time until she left in 2008. About 8 or 9 years, she used to wear a hat every Sunday. And when he said that, no one is allowed to outdress his wife. She has to be the most flamboyant and the most flashy. And sometimes the crap she had on didn't even look like nothing. But
That woman is scary. She will smile like this, and she is so scary underneath.
and condescending, because
Yes.
they'll look you in your face and smile, and as soon as you're not just as soon as you get away from them, they're saying ugly things like ugly things about
They
you.
made
And
me feel like I had did something like to or with everybody who was in my room that night. They made me feel like I don't even want to say it,
yeah,
but I
because
didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything.
we're gonna be careful with this, but their number one go to when they want to embarrass somebody is they tend to want to talk about sexual things.
Yes,
Everyone's a
they made me
whore, or
feel.
they're doing something inappropriate with somebody, or you want somebody. This is what they do. This is where they go, and I think that is so stupid for you to even, because the things that you're saying to people typically are not even on their mind. So why are you? And listen now, y'all, I'm trying to play it safe because I can make you scratch your head on some things. Um, there's well, shoot, what I got to lose? Let's do it. So if you've ever heard Dwayne Johnson preach, you might have heard him tell a story about the fact that he was dealing with some kind of illness, and God had to heal him. He had boils all over his body and yada,
Mm-hmm.
yada, yada. He talks about it when he preaches. It's a part of his testimony that he was in the tub and he was hurting so bad that he rolled out and went to Refuge Temple, and the light shined on him and God healed him of this said illness. All right. Now, I don't mean no harm, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of an illness could you have possibly had if you had a wife. Because the other thing is, I won't get into what the rumor is, but there's a rumor that there's another situation there in regards to him.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that have been said from someone that I know personally, and now in this regard, I won't call names, but I know enough about it to make me scratch my head. You saying that you was and he prides himself on preaching, be a virgin when you get married. Me and my wife did it right. I'm not even gonna get into that because that's a lie. You and your wife got married because she was pregnant with your son. And then,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. I won't bother that piece of it. But you have this illness. No, Refuge Temple in St. Stephen is connected to Refuge Temple in New York, which is where he was before he came to the church. And now, again, they go. I beg y'all to put a piece of paperwork on me talking about you suing me, because I'm telling you there's going to be a countersuit. You just go on and prepare your life for it. There'll be a new owner for everything in Alkalu. But you are talking about we did it right, and y'all, now I'm not gonna go into the fullness of what I can go into with that, because I don't want to indict people who know things that they're not supposed to know. But the fact of the matter is, even some of these people that are getting married because of the fact that they had situations going on that we needed to fix.
Yeah.
So please, Miss me with the whole pious, everyone who is here is living right, and everyone who is here is doing what we supposed to do, and all of those who are left are cursed, and they gonna die, and ain't doing nothing right, and ain't nothing good happening for them. Let me help us understand. Life happens to everybody, and you're not cursed because life happens. God's not judging you because life happens. Because the reason why they in Alkalu don't know how to function in the real world is because anytime there's a situation or issue, he runs to the rescue and saves them. So put them out. If that whole compound was to get shut down today, most of them would sink because they ain't never learned how to swim.
Yeah, he controls everything.
He is their hero. He is their God. Why did they move from Somerton to Alkalu? Ooh, that's a loaded question. I don't know. Why is it always the cult leaders that are DL? That's not the rumor. Please, that's not what I'm saying about the man. Good Lord, that's terrible. Oh boy. Why did he move from Somerton to Alkalu? Okay. So remember I told you all last night who were on. His father started the church. Now his father was nothing like him. His father built the church in South Carolina, left some people in charge of the church, went to New York, built a thriving ministry in New York. When you look up the property in Somerton, that property is, from what I understand, it's split up between a number of people, and so he couldn't do what he wanted to do with that property. So he went to Alkalu in order to buy a property that he could run and that he could do, treat it like he will, do whatever he want to do. He fixes it up as, if you go to the website, all right, let's do it that way so that I can be okay. I'm okay either way it go. But if you go to the website, well, let's quote the website directly, because they can block me from their Facebook pages. They can't block me from the website. On the website, there's a whole blurb about God showing him all of this land and yada yada yada. It's on the first page, on the home page. Over 17 years ago, God showed Bishop D.J.L. Johnson, CEO of Half Faith Community Development Corporation, a 501c3, acres and acres of land. So somebody rode through Alkalu, seen the Georgia Pacific building for sale. They bought that. Oh, I'll give you the website. I'll put it right in here for you. You could go check it out for yourself. It is my pleasure. That way you can see for yourself what's going on in regards to what they promote, and then juxtapose it to what I'm telling you. But okay, I don't know if Kiara meant to get off or not, but yeah. So that's how we wound up getting from Somerton to Alkalu. It's crazy. My niece went. Y'all, these things are moving up so fast I can't really see everything. Went there. She's a young Puerto Rican searching for the Lord. They hurt the door and told her they had nothing there for her and made her leave. We're not even let her come in. Yeah, that's them. That's them. That's the kind of things they do. It's no problem. No problem. Key, you good. I would love for everybody to get out. I would love for everybody to get out. Because there's no place anybody needs to be. It's not a healthy situation. And those to whom are there will swear out, this is hyperbole, and I'm just making it up, and all of this. But it's not. Keanu Renee, he tried to tell my daddy how to put his own trailer on the land my parents own. Oh God. Okay, I see that. All right then. People are asking about Chiffon. Chiffon don't know how to get on Facebook. Get on TikTok, does she? Chiffon is good. Chiffon is all right. She down there. Oh, she lives with my sister. She's fine. I pray she gets out. I remember her so well. She's definitely a sweet person. So that's that. I don't know. What else to say. There's a whole lot more to say, but I don't. How far do we? Someone requested that I tell the whole story from beginning to end. I can assure you I cannot do that in one sitting. There is no way. As I said, we moved down here in 1998. I left in 2009. I was there 11 years and then still dealt with them because of the stuff with my high school diploma and things and these interactions with my family from 2009 till yesterday. So I can't tell the whole story in one sitting. What I am going to do is I'm going to start going live and telling as much as I can in one setting, and then we'll save the rest for another time. But I don't think that it just needs to be me talking. I think that I think the public needs to and deserves to hear other people. Devon, what can we do to help as a community? Oh boy. Well, at this point, the only thing I know to do is report and talk and hope that somebody with some sense. What needs to happen is a financial audit. If you follow the money, we can't just go knock on the door. Yeah, you go knock on the door if you want to, and don't be somebody who lives in Alcaloo. I mean, when I say in Alcaloo, excuse me, I keep making the mistake of making Alcaloo come the same as have faith, and I have to separate the two because they're not the same. If you don't live in that territory, you don't go knocking on that door. Oh God. Do they own Alcaloo? No, they own land in Alcaloo, and a good bit of it. Now, they lied about some of the land that they claimed that they owned. They lied about some of the land, or either lost it, I don't know, because they couldn't keep up. They're extremely overextended in their budget, in their money, and this is why they have to do all kind of scamming stuff in order to get people. Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't know who Ray Boise is saying you're going to knock. Oh, God. Okay. Godspeed to you. Oh, boy. All right. But no, someone said no, they don't own Alcaloo now. No, they don't own Alcaloo. They just own a lot of land in Alcaloo, and because Alcaloo was a drying mill town, the building up that they did gave them a huge presence in Alcaloo, South Carolina. But no, they don't own Alcaloo. Thank you for helping shed light. That we need that. Because now I'm telling you, y'all, this stuff has gone on for years. While we were in public schools, these things were happening. And so the fact of the matter is, and I listen, okay, let me address this, because the statement was made that I'm just after my grandmother's money. First of all, I work. I'm very ambitious. I do what I got to do to make it. But let's talk practical. I think, and so I don't know how, I think that this kind of operates in real time. So let's do it this way. I'm going to ask a question. You answer the question. Have I not made it abundantly clear that I've been gone for 16 years? You take the time to answer that question. Thank you. TikTok says I've made it abundantly clear that I've been gone for 16 years. I'm seeing Facebook. Okay. Now, I've also made it abundantly clear that the church controls my grandmother's money. I think did I make it abundantly clear that the church controls the money? I think I did. All right. If in 16 years that I've been gone, the church has controlled her money, meaning I've had no access to it, someone please tell me why I need it now. I own a home. The church that I have is paid off. That's about 4 acres of land right there. And for to say I was so after her money, you were over here after my property. Not only that, let's go. Since I'm after her money, because this is the stuff that pisses me off with them. The way that so for 10 years, I had no dealings with them. When I left in 2010, I cut all ties. The way that we got back in touch with even dealing with them during the pandemic, they had this little stupid flower thing. Get $500, give it, and then go get 2 more people. And I'll get to that part. Dr. Simon, I'm going to pin this so that I can come back to that part, because that's the real conversation. This $500 Ponzi scheme came out around the pandemic. Some of y'all will remember it. It wasn't just an Alkalu thing. That was a have faith thing. That was all over. Give $500, get 2 people. So somebody came up with the bright idea and have faith to contact me, because I know a lot of people, because of the fact that I'm up here in Florence and I pastor and I do what I do. And so he know a lot of people. So get in touch with him. And so I said, I'm not giving nobody no $500 down there. I said, I wouldn't give y'all a brown penny. And so the sister, Faith Johnson, said, why is it that you're always so upset, even when you used to come around? Why is it that you're always so upset? And I said, why wouldn't I be upset? First of all, y'all told me I can't come on the property. Well, who told you that? And she was at the house with her older sister, Diane. And so she put the phone on speakerphone, and another lady who's affiliated with them, Tanya McNair. Hey, Devon's on the phone, and he thinks nobody loves him and nobody wants him around. And y'all talk to him and let him know all of this was crap. All of this was crap. Because first of all, I'm not... don't let the comments. I didn't see comments. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Whoever talking crazy, that's on them. I'm thinking, and this is what happens. You think, and the more you think, the more you remember. The more you remember, the more irritated you get. So I said, and so they're on there. Oh, everybody loves you, and yada yada yada, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, first of all, this means nothing coming from y'all, because y'all are not the ones who have been primary in being the aggressors. He needs to be the one doing the talking. And so then he comes and then she says, oh, well, I think that you and my brother need to have a conversation. Exactly. It's about money for them. So I said, whatever, cool. I mean, I done this. We done had conversation. It always ends bad. Whatever. I'm good. So it wound up being at this time that my wife and I lost a child. And my mother called and was like, we sent in a basket and whatever. And then the church got involved, like, oh, we got to do something about this, because like they were so concerned. So that's how we got to having more of a conversation. And they started letting my grandmother come around. So they had a breast cancer awareness event that I went to. I paid the $75 ticket and I went. And I went on the sole strength of, okay, it looks like we're going to have a relationship with my mother and grandmother. If $75 is what they want, I'll give them the $75. So I paid for the ticket, went to the event. While we were at the event, the preacher pulls me to the side, Dwayne Johnson Sr. That's when he started asking me about my property, asking me about someone needs to interview the Johnsons. Good luck getting an interview with the Johnsons. They don't go on camera unless they get to talk about getting money. That if they want to interview them about getting money, they'll talk about that. But good luck getting an interview for anything else. It's interesting that I told you two people commented, but nobody from. I wonder where that breast cancer money went. Spent. One word, one syllable. Spent. That's where it went. We Dr. Seuss tonight. It went spent. That's where it went. Now I can't tell you spent on what, but I can tell you right now it ain't went to no breast cancer awareness. Yeah, judge need to interview him. I agree with that. I love to see that day. Is the place for all races or targeted more for people of color? Serious question, not being ugly. Serious question, good question. Some years ago, a pamphlet was put out. I'm sorry, what am I missing? Kiana, what am I missing? Because you're saying we need a polygraph. Oh, on them. Okay. Some years ago, a pamphlet was put out calling Dwayne Johnson Sr. a black supremacist. I won't say I won't say that nobody of other ethnicities have ever been around. I will say it's a very exclusive and rare occurrence. That's the safest way I know to say it. So, Dr. Simon, I pinned this comment. Even if you are, why wouldn't you be more entitled than strangers? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because let's go devil's advocate. Now, I want to make it clear. I don't need my grandmother's money. As I said to her in that bedroom yesterday, I said, Grandma, they're going to tell you this is all about your money because this is what they've been saying for years. Because they got mad at my grandmother for sending money down to her mama. This is how the whole being over her money thing came up. My grandmother, when she lived in New York and had a little more freedom, sent money down to her mama and would send money down there frequently. A person, and so they found out about it, and this is when they put the older sister, Dwayne Johnson Sr.'s older sister, Diane, over my grandmother's money to make sure she wasn't spending it frivolously. And so what happened is, so now y'all get comfortable. Here we go. My grandmother got hurt on her job. She got hurt on her job. She wound up getting workman's comp and all of this. Something to the effect of $30,000. She was her settlement, to my understanding. They and I think I told y'all this, some of y'all, I think I said this last night. They told her that they were letting her buy that. So we were talking about Hideout Drive earlier, I seen in the comments. The house across from his house that they bought in about 1999, 2000, somewhere up in there. They bought that house. They took my grandmother's money and then told her she wasn't going to get the house. That the Lord told them to turn it into a bed and breakfast. And so this whole thing is about them keeping her money. It has nothing to do with us and her money. But devil's advocate, why would it be a problem if I wanted my grandmother to be more responsible and more able to decide what she does with her money? Because don't nobody need to be over anybody's money. Listen, so what's the end game here? What is it that I would like to see happen? I ain't gonna say, I ain't even gonna go as far as nobody in jail and all that. That'll happen organically if what I want to happen happens. They were supposed to open a bus stop station whenever they got here, and that never happened. Bless God, I didn't even know about that. Lord have mercy. What I want to happen is I want a financial audit of every dime that has ever been donated to Have Faith, and every dime of every account for every elderly person that has ever been there, living or dead, and for every disabled person. Financial audit. That's what I want to see happen. Because I am convinced that the financial audit will solve all of this. And we'll all see what this conversation is about. And we'll all see, what road is the house on? Yeah, Cooter Creek, all of the houses. Oh, jail time is definitely going to happen as soon as the IRS or whoever audits these jokers. Because, okay, so at one time, I talked about the cars. I talked about yesterday washing his cars and his wife's cars, washing him and his wife's car every morning. We talked about that yesterday. Those cars were rental cars from Hertz. He had some deal with Hertz where he rented these luxury cars. After I left, it went from just him and his wife having cars to him, his wife, and about 3 or 4 others. About 3 or 4 years ago, I heard that Hertz contacted them and said, if you don't turn our cars in, we're going to inactivity, unable to verify. Okay, let's see what TikTok. Okay, good. There we go. TikTok was about to shut it down. We good now. They said if Hertz told him, if y'all don't turn our cars in, we're gonna report them as stolen. And everybody had to turn them cars in because of the fact that he had not been paying the payment. So they do this whole robbing Peter to pay Paul thing. I forgot the man they bought the land's name from was Paul Burke. They robbed everybody to pay Paul. Still robbing people to pay whoever they paying now. They used to have countries. They used to have houses in the country too. But yeah, that they still own the house. Okay, all right, y'all, listen to me now. I have a whole file on all of this. I can talk to you about property changing names. I can talk to you about whose name is in over on Bloomville Highway. The house, as a matter of fact, let's talk about Dwayne Johnson Jr. again for a minute. The house that my grandmother was supposed to be buying is now in Dwayne Johnson Jr.'s name as we speak. If you think I'm lying, go to Clarendon County GIS website, type in 1023 Hideout Drive, and you tell me what the financial, or just go to the tax record page and type in 1023 Hideout Drive and see whose name come up. And so I have no reason to lie on this man or those people. The other thing is there are too many other people who are having these. These is her house as big as the one. Oh yes, the one as soon as you pull in, and all of the ones down the street, they built them. I think all of them are 7 bedrooms. They're all mansion style, with the exception of the one that's privately owned, which it is still the same size. Okay, so those never mind. I won't get into it. Those houses are prefab houses. They're modular homes. They came in on trailers, and they took them off the wheels, and put them on blocks, and then built the inside out. So that's how they were able to build so many of them so fast. But yeah, all of them are built practically the same way, and all of them are 7 bedrooms. I never forget one of the churches in Bloomville community had a play. Pastor Johnson got up, and I'm trying to touch the screen, and it's not a touch screen, and said he's going to build a bowling alley and a movie theater and put it in Manning. This was 20 years ago. Yeah. That all of them lies been being told for years. Bowling alley, movie theater, gas station, hotels. From what I've seen recently, tiny homes, and all of them have problems with the plumbing upstairs. Yeah, because they rush through getting them houses built so that they can get them approved, go take the equity out of them in order to do something else quicker with it, because he stood up in church and preached about doing it. So they rush through getting them put up so that they can get them approved, so that it's her house is big. My husband, Matthew Green, lived on Hideout when I met him. Yes, he actually lived on the land right next to the house where Ella Johnson lived on Hideout. That was their home and their territory. Okay, so let me see what I'm reading here. We just need these people rescued or start with an audit. Some don't want to be. Yeah, in regards to my grandmother, the situation is, in her mind, if that's who you all are talking about here, he was almost free and they pulled him. I'm pretty sure my contact will. Yeah, okay. Sound like she done chose her side. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading through to make sure I'm answering things right. Yeah, she essentially said, you know, I'm not leaving. I don't want to go. Not because she don't want to go, but because she's scared. But because she said she don't want to go, we couldn't make her go. He got a key to everybody's house. Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit last night too. But yeah, all of those homes, him and Tyrone Brailsford Sr. have keys, and they don't. And so the other thing is, they can waltz in at any time they get ready. Is it only the people in the church he's pulling in? I'm scared now. They have my number from written things. I will say this. Oh boy, help me, Lord. If you have ever had contact with them, and if you've rented bounce houses or whatever, keep the conversation business only. Don't let them start talking to you about all of this. If you are not strong in your mind, don't let them talk to you about nothing else. Because before you know it, you'll be agreeing to stuff that you ain't even knew you agreed to. If you're not strong in your mind, right. The problem with DSS is that there's a power of attorney. And grandma is not insane. She don't have dementia. She's just hard. The only way we can fight this is through a financial audit. If we can prove they're misappropriating her money and get the power of attorney revoked, and then have her removed from there because of the fact that the finances didn't check out, that's the only way that we can do that. What about the Langhorns? Lord have mercy, the Langhorns. What are you asking specifically? Because I have a lot I can say about the Langhorns in regards to the fact I will go on record for saying it's a tragic, sad thing that what happened to Elder Langhorn. Kevin Murray, check your DM. Okay, I'm going to check it now. Yes and amen. The still is. Okay. All right. I think that some of you all have been. I need to follow up on this. Who was your mom? All right. I think that some of you all have been messaging a second page of mine, and I need to. I'm not on that page to see. So Kevin Murray, send your message to Devon J. Period Long, not Devon J. Long without the period. I'm so sad about. It's so sad what happened to him. Yeah, and it's interesting that now I won't use the term good. I'll use the term good very sparingly, because all of these people were complicit when they had their minds. All of them. I hate what happened to Elder Langhorn. Thank you. Yes, Deidre. Not if, when. So I'm caught. Have faith, people. Y'all are on. God bless you if you are. I'm telling you now, I'm calling Bank of America. And I'm gonna all but demand that they audit that account where her pension is going. I'm also calling the pension people to let them know that she does not live in New York. She lives in South Carolina, because you were dumb enough to have her trespass me from a South Carolina address. How stupid is that? How can she trespass me from a house that she doesn't live in? How can she live in that house and trespass me if she lives in New York? But you want it to say that she lives in New York so that you can keep that pension at the New York cost of living pay rate. Okay, yeah, I'll pin it. Or anyone can message me and get any messages to him. Yeah, do that, because I can't see everything. So I'm pinning what my sister said, message her. And so, yeah, okay, so do they teach a sect of religion? They call themselves non-denominational, but they teach what they call apostles' doctrine. I don't quite know how old he is, but he's not. My grandmother is older than him, and she's 78, I believe. She's 78, turning 79. I do agree. Complicity is just as culpable. Who is the guy? Tiana, let me go up because I'm missing some. Anyone who, those of you to whom have, who am I need? Oh, okay. That's a different conversation. All right. So the idea is that you have evidence. Paper trails are important. I don't have any paper trails, but I know the bank does. The bank has the... So this is my problem with them. Now, the fact of the matter is, you are talking about I'm lying. All of this is a mess that you created. I did nothing but exist. And I can't help it that my existence is a thorn in your side. So I don't have the paper trails, but the banks do. How do they have access to her Social Security check? They have access to all of her bank accounts where these checks are deposited, because they take access. They mandate that every account that has ever been opened over there by anybody that is considered less than has the name of somebody who is considered more than. The evidence I'm talking about is the no trespass. Yes, I do have the no trespass notice. It was sent to me. I requested that the officer send it to me. So yeah, joint accounts, Alexis Cook. When I was there, when I opened my bank account, someone's name was on it. When my mother was there, as a matter of fact, we're going to the bank tomorrow to change some things for my mother, and then we're going to see an attorney. Because the other thing the church did is have them write these little stupid heartbeat letters saying that the organization is in charge if anything happens to me. So we need to write paperwork for my mother now saying that any paperwork that predates this paperwork, that is the person, Miss Street. Yes. I don't know about took the fall. Oh boy, shoot. I don't know about, oh good Lord. Okay. I can't say took the fall because what happened in New York was a whole different situation. And as much as I don't like Elder Johnson for the stuff he has done, I can't say, well, oh shoot. He was not involved when that happened in the beginning, but he got involved at the end is my understanding. So, yes, there is a situation in New York, and you can Google and find everything you need to know about that situation with the embezzlement in New York and all of that. Now, it's interesting to note that that same person spent a lot of years as the program director in Alcaloo, South Carolina, even though you were in some trouble about embezzling money in another situation and in another construct. They wrote one, okay, so my sister says they wrote the one heartbeat letters because they had trouble with an older lady's burial and her family raised hell about it. And so, yeah, so, okay. And to this point, wonder if he had members deposit their tax returns. Yes, we talked about that last night. My mother had to give her whole tax return to the her whole tax check to the church when it came. I wonder, that makes me wonder if they're using this money for other illegal things. I would say they're using the money to fund their lives. They drive well, live well, dress well, they can eat whatever they want to eat, go wherever they want to go. They're up and down the road, on trips, on cruises, on this, on that. That's where the money goes. Okay, so let me go back because I seen something that I wanted to attend to. No, Kiana. He's not. I don't think he might be early 60s. I don't think he in no 70s. He ain't that old because grandma is significantly older than him. Check out financial aid money. I used to work at a call center for Bank of America, and it is so easy to get into anyone's account. And like, they don't even got to fight hard to get into her account because they have her they have power of attorney, and their name is on the account. And so they have just as much jurisdiction over the account as she does. Mom gave up a whole workers' compensation. Yes, my mother did. I was on Google last night, but that didn't. Shannon Flynn, once you start digging, I have sat up on my computer all night at times finding things out. Yeah, I heard that individual. Yeah, okay, Lord help me. Yep. Yeah, y'all are getting very real. My husband worked 3 jobs. Yeah, that's true. He did work 3 jobs. So the point becomes, I think enough has been said, and there are other people who can tell their own stories. There are other people who can tell their own stories. So it doesn't have to be me. You have all of this stuff that has gone on. All of this stuff that has taken place. So Social Security does not allow a check to go into an account with a power of attorney. All I can tell you, my grandmother's Social Security check goes to Wells Fargo. That pension check goes to Bank of America. I don't know what construct or relationship they have with the banks or whatever. I do know there's a power of attorney order. I know that for sure. And I do know that there's a Wells Fargo account and there's a Bank of America account. Those three things I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt. And Austin, Camilla, yeah. Now that my mother is out, we're able to let her talk so that she can corroborate that there's some things going on that are not supposed to happen. And I'm hoping that because that's her, and my mother is my grandmother's only daughter. But anyone with power of attorney has access to that person's account, can be a co-signer and have a debit card. Yeah. But in regards to this Bank of America account, my grandmother doesn't even have a debit card. She doesn't even know the account number. She doesn't even know the balance on that account. Why does he focus on helping abused women and children and female veterans out of Florida or New York to bring them to Alkalu? This whole thing, even before the Alkalu days, was built on helping single mothers. What he failed to tell you is when he got the single mothers down here, he beat the living Hades out of the children. That he slapped my sister in the face so hard one time that he left his handprint in her face. My text messaging? Yeah. I don't know. One person did, but I don't know. And what they failed to mention is that when he gets them down here, he locks them in and talks to them like dogs. Right? And so all of these things are the things that are left out, but you get pictures of the mothers and they would coerce them into, there we go. So let's talk about writing letters and these videos that you can go on YouTube and find, where one particular video, I remember my mother being on the video talking about how the ministry taught her how to cook and all of this crazy stuff. We used to be told to sit down and write letters to the stars, write letters to Tyler Perry, write letters to Oprah Winfrey, write letters to this one and that one, because we need Alkalu funded. We need this built up. We got to do this. We got to do that. And whenever anyone would get in trouble, I know. So if anything ever comes out that was written by me, I can tell you for sure I was made one time to write a letter talking about what the church did for me. Because he loves people who would get up and talk about, oh, I just needed this ministry so much because my life was so terrible without it. And before it, everything was going down and my life was going to hell. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. And I didn't know whether I was coming or going. And oh my God, just the whole regalia. He wants you to be able to talk about how terrible your life was before him. And how coming to the ministry just, it's almost like one of those commercials. I downloaded Checking the Cash and I had $5,000 in my account the next day. It's almost that kind of a vibe. Everything turned around when I came into that. They love that. So you will go anywhere you can go and find those videos to no end. They're on YouTube. Well, maybe now that I'm saying this, they'll go pull them down. But they're out there. Testimonials as to how the ministry was such a... an individual said to me on posted and said, this ministry was nothing but a help to you. My hip is 1 inch higher on the right side than it is the left side. And the chiropractor that discovered that told me the only way that can happen is through severe trauma. Yes, the savior mentality. I have medical records. So that's me. So I didn't. I'm sorry, discussing. Okay, follow. Okay, all right. I'm making sure I ain't missing nothing. I didn't know. I didn't think much of it. I knew he said what he said. Turns out my brother got into some kind of car accident or something, and he had to have X-rays done. And his hip is 1 inch higher on the right side than it is on the left. Let's go back to last night. I talked about beatings. I'm willing to bet that if every one of us boys, my uncle used to go to that church, you're right. Thank you so much, Shirley Canty. If every one of us boys were x-rayed, every one of us boys have this same phenomenon, that our hip is 1 inch higher on the right side than it is the left. I have an awful fight with sciatica. So much so to the point that at times I can't even walk properly. I'm convinced my sciatic nerve was damaged from these beatings. And I'm wondering, are there any other boys that I'm talking about? I will call names on this. Deshaun, Jared, Joshua. I can't say Marquise because I don't know whether he's ever been beat with a paddle or not. Those of us, Tyrone, those of us that were beat with the paddle, I wonder, do all of us have the 1 inch higher hip? Because I know me and my brother do. So I would encourage anyone from Half Faith to just shut up. Because anything you say, I promise you, I can circle it 10 times over. Prove where you're lying, and then tell my truth. So this individual says, let me pin the post. Because they said, Ella Johnson looked me in my face and told me the beatings never happened and I made it up. So this young lady is not a part of the commune. She didn't go there. She didn't live there. She can attest to that on her own if in the chat. She says, anybody that went to school with y'all knows y'all got beat because we literally witnessed it. The public school system should have reported it. And I will go on record for saying one of the principals is who gave Ella Johnson his first paddle. I won't say who, but it was a principal. He gave Ella Johnson the first paddle. It was a wooden one. But hey, that's another issue for another day. Now, what reason do I have to lie? What reason do I have to lie? I watched the videos on YouTube and I thought it was a way to manipulate and isolate women and children in need. Also, if there is government funding, Florida and New York residents would have higher monetary disbursements that they would have control and access to. And I didn't get beat by Elder Barufus used to give me the business. I too have sciatica damage. Ty Obama, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Yeah, those whooping. So then, I think that the point is proven. I bet they won't publicly call you out. I'm saying, if I'm a liar, call me on it. Let's do this. Let's do this together. I noticed. No, Jeffrey Lampkins has no affiliation. That's a different set of Lampkins. The Lampkins that were a part of this church came from New York. Jeffrey Lampkins has no affiliation with these people. I know him well. He's a brother of mine. He has no affiliation with these people. He's Jeffrey Lampkin. Their name is Lampkins with a S. And they're from New York. But yeah, Boosie Boo, I don't know, yeah. We talked about this last night, and I took the time to describe the whoopings so that y'all can see that it's too intense for me to make it up. But they will swear out, I'm making it up, and this stuff didn't happen, and it's just something the devil put in my mind to keep me walking in unforgiveness. Man, I got paddled by a white man named Mr. Heldreth. I remember Mr. Heldreth. I remember him, the assistant principal. Can you answer my question? I know you're getting a lot of comments. Please tell me what your question was again. I didn't see it. I will gladly answer it. I didn't see it. If you got it, go back to it and pin it or reply to it so it'll come back up. Who would take time from their family, work, or peace to make something like this up? Thank you. Yeah, once they tried to change the way I dress, my parents said no. Yeah, and this is what they specialize in, telling people how to live, how to exist, how to function, what to do, what to say. Every facet of your life is controlled by them. Nika Joyner, how are you doing? That's another one of the classmates. Welcome to the conversation. We're talking about the folk up the road down there. Aniki Moreno, where did this whole thing? Oh, okay, all right. So let me unpin this and let me go pin that so I can make sure I'm answering. I think some pastors try to recruit you to. The church in Somerton is the one being renovated. So where did this all come from? All right. The church itself started well over 50 years ago by his father, Bishop R.P. Johnson. And I said last night, and I will continue to go down in history for saying, Bishop R.P. Johnson was nothing like this. So he started the church in South Carolina and then went up and started the church in New York. I was born into the church under the leadership of him. All right. So the story, as was told to me by a very reliable source, says that when Bishop R.P. Johnson got where he could not see anymore because he had sugar diabetes, that this son, Dwayne Johnson Jr., came in and took over leading the organization, because it was three churches: the New York church, South Carolina church, and the Florida church. The church in South Carolina was in Somerton. It was called Open Door Church. And that was where we were from when he came in 1995 or so, 94, 95. That's where he was. And we came down one at a time. And we were in Somerton from the time I came in 1998 to 2003, when they started buying up this property in Alcaloo. And so was the lady over tap dancing your biological mom? If you're asking me this, no, my mother doesn't do any kind of dancing at all. We not rhythm. We can't dance at all. So in 1998 we came and we were in Somerton. When they started buying up all this property in 2003, we went to the they bought the building that would become this school. Yes, Open Door Church used to sell things in the back. No, you're not asking a lot at all. You're trying to figure it out. We got you. And so, long story short, from 2003 to 2000, well, to now, they did all this building up, and everyone moved from their houses where they were living and moved into this property in Alcaloo. And it was when the Alcaloo stuff got started that it really became overbearingly cultish. All before that, it was always control. There was always the financial exploitation. There was always the talking down, the fussing, all of that. But it was during that. Let me turn my phone on so I can hear when people are texting me, because I don't know. It was during the Alcaloo stuff. It was during the Alcaloo stuff that all of this stuff that we talking about now got even worse. And it was when a good bit more people came down, because he used them houses and stuff to recruit from the church in New York, from Florida. The church in Florida virtually was non-existent for a few years, and they all came up here. Who all worked in the restaurant? Sabrina Sumter, Kim Green, and Corrine Johnson, and one of Dwayne Johnson's sisters, Priscilla, was in and out. Those were the 4 people that ran the restaurant. Okay, so in regards to my grandmother, the sheriff was there with us. Leaving her was the... All right, here we go. The church in Florida is located in Tampa on East Yukon Boulevard. My grandmother looked me in my face and said, please, please go. I don't want no more trouble. And because the cop was there, and the cop heard her say, you know, she's not coming with us. You got your mama, get out and go. Please leave before they come. I'll get out another way. I'll find a way to keep in contact with y'all. And I hate to God that I did not record it. Today, the cop called me and said that my grandmother was upset about me putting her number on Facebook. Well, first of all, I put the number on Facebook to prove the point that I said they were going to cut the phone off. And an hour later, the phone line was suspended. The SSA check is going to an account that's in her name. And so I don't know that we can prove that the SSA check is going straight to the power of attorney, but the power of attorney controls the account on the back end. That's what's happening with that situation. And no, Boosie Boo, I didn't want to leave her. And the fact of the matter is, I'll be honest with you. No, I won't say that. I won't say that because I don't want, I don't want to say anything that would cause legal trouble. And I'm not talking about legal trouble for me. We just got to be careful on this platform. But the fact of the matter is, leaving my grandma was the hardest thing I ever had to do, besides leaving there. Because I told her, now y'all, I don't beg for nothing. Because the little boy that used to cry over referrals, he grew up and got sick of people having the upper hand. So I don't let people live with ever thinking that you got anything over on me or I begged my grandma to get up out that bed and come and get in my car. And my grandma let fear cause my grandma to choose them and that as opposed to being with her family when she has expressed herself that she didn't like the way things were. I didn't like choosing it. Let's go here. Do y'all know how hard it is to walk away from your family? Not only just your family. Let's talk. Not only just your family. We've talked extensively about how close-knit this organization was. So every childhood friend that I had, here I am, moderately successful. And none of my childhood friends have ever come to support any of the work that I do. That the people with whom I grew up. I don't think that they're hurting her physically. I don't think so. I think it's purely mentally. I think it's purely emotional. I don't think it's physical. People keep asking what is the name of the church. I'm going to come back to this question I got pinned. The funny thing is they don't use the name of the church for anything. The church used to be called Open Door Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ because he was a part of Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ. Those of you who are in the church world will know what that means. He was a part of William L. Bonner's organization. William L. Bonner's who made him an apostle. But they don't use the church name for anything. They use the organization name, and the organization is named Have Faith Community Development Corporation. All right, so when I left in December of 2009, I knew, did the cop have it recorded on their body cam? You know, that's a good question, Kiara, and I'm going to find out. That's a good question because I didn't record, but maybe the cop has it. When I left in 2009, I knew I was walking away from everybody who I loved, not just family. And so, leaving my mother back then, leaving my sisters and my brother, because the conversation to them, and my sister is on here, you see her talking, so she can confirm this. When I left, the conversation to them was, he abandoned y'all because he don't love y'all. He only thinks about himself. My mother was sick at one point, and they told Ella Johnson told my sisters, don't call me and let me know my mother's sick because I have a life insurance policy on her and I'm waiting on her to die. I didn't even have a life insurance policy on myself at that time. And he had no way to know whether that was true or not. But he is so manipulative that if he thinks it, it becomes real. So walking away from it's never been that I didn't love my family. It's never been that I didn't care about my family. What it was the last church trip I took was in Washington, D.C. And I was so depressed that I remember standing up in the window wishing it would open so I could jump out. And I remember laying down at night saying, God, don't let me wake up in the morning. I remember being so miserable thinking about the fact that I never was good enough. Never was good enough to fit in. He used to call me nerd. Nerd. He's a nerd. Never was good enough to be celebrated for much of anything. It happened, but it was few and far in between. And I knew I couldn't keep living like that. This is the same mentality that my mother had. It wasn't an easy decision for my mother to leave her mama there. You have so many people. Let me pin this so I can read it. You have so many people who watch this tonight. People are ready to support you and others who have been hurt. What is the next step? To be honest, I don't know a next step. All I know is to talk. That's all I know. Were any sexual assaults going on at this church? Oh boy, with the women. I've heard things, but I can't confirm what I've heard. I don't know those things to be true, but I have heard things. Someone specifically told me a story of being assaulted when she was a child by another individual in the commune. So yes, I've heard things, but I don't know that. Is your mom staying with me? My mom is not with me, but she is. Where I don't want to talk a whole lot about where she is because they like to go looking for people. Can you repeat the original church name? The original church name was Open Door Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ. And let me go on record for saying this. Because, yeah, they like to go looking for people. Please, y'all, tell them people, don't go bothering my mama. Because where she is, it don't take me long to get to her. And, yeah, don't go bothering my mama because I don't care about no trespassing, nothing. Don't go bothering my mama. She gone. Because when I left, the original church name was Open Door Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ. When I left, I started getting all these stupid phone calls. Don't forget the bridge that brought you over, and how dare you leave this place? And from numbers I didn't even recognize. Now my mother, my mother's phone was on my grandmother's plan, and my grandmother, that phone is no longer operational, so they can't reach her, and we have her in a place where she is safe and she is okay. But now we have to help her rebuild her life. She was there for 35. I'm 35 years old. I don't mean a bit. Well, let's go. My sister and I are the first in the family to own our own property. My mother has never owned her own property. The house that my grandmother owns is really the church house that they just put a loan in her name to get money. Is there human trafficking? People have used that term, and human trafficking is a very broad thing. So I would say there are things that have happened that could be looked at as trafficking. Yes. So wait, people live there? Yes, people live there in all of them houses, with the exception of one. The one that they say is the cancer house. I don't think anyone lives there. What about that tea? Yeah, they don't drink the tea anymore because I don't think they have access to it. But yeah, so this individual is asking about the tea. When we were younger, after every church service, everybody drank tea, a cup of tea. And it was supposed to be for healing and all of this stuff. And so to my knowledge, no one's drinking tea anymore. But yeah, we did drink tea for a very long time. Who did they replace you with for the sound? I don't know. I do know that Ella Johnson tried to use that when I first left. Ella Johnson tried to use that as a bargaining tool to get me to come back. Who's gonna help Soul Food Jazz with the sound? You didn't. You were the best, and you did so good. And yeah, he was selling prayer pillows. See, this is what I'm talking about. You forget things and they come back. Do they watch your live? They're probably on because I've seen some of them. Many of them blocked me, but I've seen some of them in the story, and so they're probably on. So I don't know who they replaced me with for the sound. I do know I wasn't dumb enough to take that poison. Y'all gonna have to figure the sound out because I'm not coming back to run no wires. I wasn't offered tea when I went. Then again, I don't think they like me. I think by the time the alkalu stuff starts, so it ain't a thing. By the time the tea stuff pretty much stopped when we moved out of Somerton over to alkalu. And part of it was, so the tea was grown by his father. I don't know if they lost how to grow it or where to find it from or whatever the case is, but I don't know. I don't know what happened with the tea, but that just disappeared. I don't know if anybody is drinking tea anymore. But I can tell you, they had two things that we drank. There was tea, and then there was this other thing that just was called Remedy. Remedy was nasty. Remedy was the nastiest thing I ever tasted. Now, the tea, they knew how to make that taste real good. The place is Have Faith Community Development Corporation in Alkaloo, South Carolina. And the tea was only offered mostly after services. Did y'all, yeah, oh, Lord help me. Okay. Billie Jean, did y'all celebrate birthdays or holidays? All right. No, but they do now. I remember my mother getting fussed at about decorating the house for Christmas. And the statement was, we not spending all that money decorating our house. We take the children away because we would go to Florida as a church every year for Christmas. And in the last 3 years that I was there, we went to Washington, D.C. at Christmas. I think, Boosie Boo, I think that's what it was. Development, is it community-based? That's the profession, sir. It's professed to be. Now, birthdays, they will acknowledge if you're important enough, and everybody always acknowledges his birthday. As a matter of fact, I can remember one year they had us all make cards and give him cards and all of that. And he got upset because of the fact that there was no money in the cards. And fussed at everybody about giving him cards with no money in them. I understand nowadays that each family or each adult has to pay $1,000 toward his pastor's anniversary. Every adult in the organization has to give him $1,000 for his anniversary. Now, I'm a pastor, so let me talk about this, and I need to talk about this. I am a pastor, and I love God, and I love God's church. And I've seen some things that someone said that's the pot calling the kettle black. How you gonna call them a cult and you're running a cult? First of all, I don't have any of my members on here, but I can assure you, if I was to get any of them on here, I can assure you I wouldn't have members because they wouldn't put up with this foolishness. But the other thing is, yeah, Austin Camilla, it puts me in the mind of that when I learned about. So I've studied cults lightly as I have started figuring this stuff out, and yeah, Daddy Grace reminds me a lot of what. And I've seen these other recommendations for movies and things. Yeah, so I pastor 3 churches. Neither one of my members will put up with this mess. Neither one of them. So please don't call what I am doing that, and please don't compare it. That's insulting to me, and you won't get much. You notice I try to be very kind and respectful to everybody, with the exception of one. I got a little out of character, but I try not to get rattled because I know people have questions. How many people are associated with them? That's not an odd question. That's a hard question to answer. I'll deal with that in a minute. Not all. Where's your church? In Florence, and 2 in Florence and 1 in Bishopville. Lieutenant Governor, Office of Agent. Maybe they can help. Okay, let me write that down. And the thing I will say also, make the elected officials know that you all are concerned down there in Manning. Make them know. Because I won't dig into that much, but I will say it's a little hard to sell that all of these people can say they got weird vibes and other people just miraculously didn't. So I would say make the elected officials know what's going on. So back to I was talking about my churches and don't associate me with them, because I've seen people saying, someone commented and said it's the pot calling the kettle black because all churches are cults. No, they're not. No, they're not. And the one thing that keeps me in ministry is this whole idea of somebody needs to see in this day where preachers are after money and treating people crazy and living lavishly while people that are worshiping with them are walking to church. I drive a 2018 Nissan Rogue. I don't have anything fancy because the people I pastor don't drive fancy. It doesn't look good. It's not a good look. Fawn Pandolino was on earlier. Okay, let's make it happen and let's talk. I mean, I'm here. We don't desecrate the church because one church or 2 churches are bad or have done bad things. I don't run, I'm not going to go into the fullness of this, but the churches that I pastor are not $1 million facilities at all. As a matter of fact, one of them, Ariel White. Are you the Ariel White from Bellport, New York? Whose mother was Sister White? Well, I think I've said enough. Let me know if that's who you are, and if so, my goodness, that's been years since I've seen you. But yeah, no, the churches I pastor are not these. The church I pastor in East Florence, Prayer Tabernacle, is a decent size, and it looks nice, and we do what we can to keep it looking nice and all of that. But I stay in ministry because I just need to believe that God. I need to believe, and I need to be a part of helping people believe that God is different than this. That there is no way that what I seen is what God is. And I need, in this generation where so many of the young people my age are running away from the church because of stuff like this, I promise you, there have been times that I question, how could God let this happen to me? How could this be my family going through this? And I'll go further. I blame myself because the way we even got in South Carolina was because of me. I went to school and talked about getting a beating. I don't remember. I was in first grade. This was 1996. I was 5 years old. It was first grade, second grade. I talked about getting a beating, and in New York, they don't play. When you file a report, I'm here to tell you, they come in. This couldn't. He has a church in New York. You want to know why this ain't happening? This wouldn't fly in New York. Things just seem to be a little different in the South, and I don't quite understand. But we're gonna hope that we can get a hold to some people who can whatever. So I try to be very different, and I try to, as a leader, as a pastor, and I try to show what a real community leader is, because everything that I have seen growing up, and so let's talk. All right, and I'm glad I thought about this. So y'all have heard us talk about trips a good bit. One of the things that they use as a selling point, all of y'all young people don't know how blessed you are. You go on trips other young people are not going on. Let me write that down. I'm coming back to trips. I have this question pen. How many people are associated with them? I would say it used to be a bigger number. At this point, I would say 60, 70, maybe 100. I'm not, it's a rough estimate between all three of the churches. I would say maybe 120 people at best. And I think that's being, oh Lord. All right, please, y'all be a little bit gracious. I see something that I'm not gonna read. Be a little gracious. I know that's a big deal right now. Please be gracious. But yeah, and yes, to this point, Angela Brewer Green said they have people all over New York. All over New York, Virginia. Yeah, that's true. Trips, all the adults pay for with their tax. Yes. The trips were paid for with tax returns. But yeah, so they use the trips as justification for y'all are blessed and we can work you to death because we're going to take you on trips. And we can work you to death because y'all go to the movies. And you could have kept your darn trip. I didn't need to go nowhere. I could have just sat in the trees. I could have been homeless. And I think I'd have been better. I could have, I hate to say it. So I said I blamed myself because I went to the school at 6 years old, 5 years old, whatever, however old I was. Talked about getting a beating. They pulled us out of the house. And so CPS case, trigger him. He comes in, let me help you with your children. My mother comes to the house during one of her opportunities to visit and says, hey, we're going down south. At this time, we did not call them. I don't call him what they call him because I won't call him that. I call him Elder Johnson. That's just out of familiarity because to me, he ain't worth not a title. Mr. Johnson is too much respect for him for me. But we're going down south with Ella Johnson and Sister K for a little while. And that's how we moved to South Carolina. A bus full of people. You're talking about, okay, Trevon Rivers. This is back in the day. They used to have crusades. This was back when his father was still in charge. And the church was a whole lot more healthy back then than it is now. The buses still come from New York, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. Y'all, I'm flabbergasted by the way. Okay, Ariel, yeah, right, Kiana. So you were a baby, you didn't know this, or you wouldn't remember this. Right after we moved to South Carolina, Mommy got approved for a big house in New York. What do you want to become of this? What's the all be all? Oh, that's a loaded question. Ariel, I'm coming back to you. I want to see the place boarded up if you want the truth. I want Half Faith Community Development Corporation to be a memory that everybody knows never should have existed. I want to see the feds come in and I want to see them audit every file. And I want to see everybody who is responsible held accountable. And the only way I know to make that happen is to keep talking and to report and to demand that somebody does something to cause this man to know that he is not God and that he's not above the law. Please fix me some of that. Thank you. I'm tragically thirsty. I'm over here dying of thirst. Thank you so much. Virginia, they don't, Kiara, they don't have a church in Virginia. They just know people in Virginia. File complaint with the South Carolina Office of Inspector General. Listen, I will help them board the place up. Because it's ridiculous what has gone on down there. It's ridiculous what has taken place down there. Ariel, being kicked out of the church because I got pregnant at 20 was the best thing they could have done. So she used to be in the church in New York. This is the kind of stuff that goes on. This is the kind of stuff that they do. So again, I keep needing to make the point because they're gonna say I'm lying and all this, and some of y'all watching that are from Hefe will sit here and listen to me talk to other people about their experiences. Is everybody lying? Is everybody making it up? Who is doing this? The ringleader is Dwayne Joseph Leonard Johnson Sr. Excuse me, Dwayne Joseph Johnson Sr. The son's name is Dwayne Joseph Leonard Johnson Jr. Do they own all the open fields on? Yes, everything I showed you all, they own on the live stream, with the exception of those brick houses that are between their between their big houses. But everything I showed you all on the live stream, they own. And there's stuff I didn't show you that they own. Alex, I don't know. I think he's too much of a chauvinist to do this. I don't think that he thinks that he can get caught, because I think so in his mind he don't think that. Well, no. I don't know about that. I was about to say I think in his mind he don't think he's wrong, but no, that can't be the case. Because if you're not wrong, then tell everybody what you're doing. Why am I the liar for coming out saying it if nothing's wrong with it? I mean, would the world be a better place? Probably so, but I don't think that he would do it. The daycare is still in existence. They don't got no kids in it, but it still exists. They got his 3 grandchildren who are not school age. So they have this school deal with 5 kids, 3 of whom are not school age. So that's the daycare, I guess. I don't know what. Yeah, I guess that's the daycare. I would say this about lying. Let me pin it so I can read it. I never knew your name before this morning. So that's what's happening. Most of the people who are reaching out to me, even some of the people who have come being hagglers and I didn't know. I grew up in Manning, and many of you all who knew me growing up know I don't come to Manning. I only come to Manning for almost one reason, and there's a church that I preach at down there sometimes and fellowship with, and I don't even go there often. You will almost never catch me in Manning. It's not a happy place for me. I get sick to my stomach crossing the bridge, passing 122. God forbid having to get off the exit. I typically don't. So, many of these people who are now talking, I've never talked to someone. Some remember me from school, and some remember me from my time there. My husband saw your video and told me that someone was finally speaking out. I know from personal experience that what you say is true. My husband has always felt something was going on. That's typically the sentiment. So you feel you have to prove that he is not So you want to expose the scam? Essentially, yes. And from my assessment of this live, you want to expose them as well. I think were you a victim? Evidently, they are profiting legally as a business or nonprofit. Is this personal? Okay, so Jamal Smith, I'm glad you asked. Yes, it's very personal. My grandmother was curled up in a bed, more scared of disappointing him than she was of disappointing her family. Very personal. But I will also say it's been personal because he never liked me personally. This is not a new thing. This has been going on. I'm not even talking about the stuff we talking about. I'm talking about this me versus him thing. I was about to sue them about a high school diploma back in 2012. I was about to sue them about some stuff with someone else's finances in 2016. When other people who have left or distanced themselves are allowed to go on the property, I'm not. To see my mother and grandmother when they were there. It was always a thing. You called her Mother Hunt. We're going to have to talk about that. Her name was never Hunt. You didn't know that part. But thank you for mentioning Hunt, because I need to shout out my grandfather, who, if he was alive, I think things would have been so much more different. I think they would have been different. How did you feel about going to get your mother? All right. So I was in convocation this week with the group, with the fellowship that my church and that my pastor and all of us, not this fool. I'm talking about my pastor, who is the leader that I am submitted to now. So you feel you have to prove that he's not? Oh, okay. I think I answered that. How did you feel about going to get your mother? I was in convocation this week, and I spoke to my pastor on Friday night and told him I would not be. I told him I would be needing to go I told him that I was needing to go to Manning to handle some things because he's a little bit aware of this situation, and I said, so please be praying with me about the situation. I said, I intend to be in church in the morning, and then I'm going to go after that. I got up that morning, Saturday morning, and got dressed for church. The reason I was wearing what I was wearing yesterday is because that is what I put on for church. I never made it out of my bedroom. My anxiety was through the roof. I'm not scared anymore. But I just have this thing that I cannot stand about having to talk to him, having to deal with him, having to confront him, having to fuss with him, because I don't mind doing it, but I don't like to do it. Could we ever reach a medium or a compromise? The time for that is gone, sir. You seem very, very intelligent. I am very, very intelligent, and I'm here to tell you, he's not the compromise kind of a person. I've done all the compromise I'm going to do. I have bought tickets, bought barbecue, done this, done that. He's not a compromising individual. It's his way or the highway. Well, the problem is I'm a grown man and you don't get to tell me it's your way. So it's going to either be for me, the highway, or it's going to be my way. And I don't mean my way in regards to I want what I want. I want what's right. And what I said this on the live last night. You wouldn't be looking at me right now if I just had a relationship with my family. Yes, he did abuse me. Yes, he did. If I had a relationship with my family, my demand was never for my grandmother to leave. If she chooses that, that's fine. I can't do nothing about that. But the problem is, one, I know that she's not choosing that because it's what she wants. The other issue is, how do you as the preacher say somebody can't deal with their family? So that's what triggers all of this, that it's, you don't get to even offer a recommendation to him. It's whatever he wants. All right? So did you get sick in your stomach going to get her? I had nausea. As a matter of fact, I didn't eat anything at all that whole day. I didn't eat at all. My anxiety was up. I was, because first of all, I didn't know that he was out of town. So typically, whenever a car shows up on the property that's not a normal car, not one of their vehicles, they descend on that car like the cavalry comes. I fully expected to have some sort of a compromise. That's why I brought the not a compromise. I'm reading. Excuse me. A conflict, confrontation. That's why I brought the police. I fully expected to not have time for my mother to get all of the stuff she intended to get. I thought it was going to be a grab and go because they would be. Did he physically abuse you? Yes. We were beat like slaves with a master that couldn't stand them. Two sides to every story. Oh, hold on a minute. Let me go here. Pen. I'll come back. Two sides to every story. Yes, there are two sides to every story. And you don't have to hear from me about, I'm telling you my side. And my side is, and there are others on here who have talked about what they have experienced. So, sir, forgive me, I'm not trying to be ugly, but I don't give one hoot about two sides, because his side is that he wants to be in control of the narrative. He wants me to say that beatings never happened. The problem is, at this point, I'm not the only one talking. People I didn't even know had stories are coming out saying this, that, and the other happened. I appreciate you for being neutral. I'm not asking anyone to take my side. I'm just saying listen to the facts. The whole thing started with me saying my grandmother is there and scared to come out. I'm saying I can tell you that my mother had her income tax check taken every year that she got one. I can say that I was stripped naked, as was every other boy, and we were beat in front of each other. We've all seen each other naked. We were beat like we had there was no regard for privacy. There was no regard for not publicly humiliating people. I don't care about no other side. This is the side that I'm responsible for telling. I'm not being rude to you. I'm just... There will never be a point where there's nothing that Ella Johnson can say that can justify these things that are coming out right now. What do you say to taking people's money? Why is that okay? For years. So, and the other thing is, this is not something that just started. This goes, I'm 35 and I was born into the church. Moved down here to South Carolina with him in 1998. So from 1998 until yesterday, and I can't even say ended yesterday, because now the fight is trying to figure out how to get grandma, if there's any way to do it at all. There's no resolution. There's no resolve. It's dealing with him is always, it's either fight or lay down and let him do what he has done. And to me, that's a bigger rape than anything that anybody can talk about. Boosie Boo, yes. So I described the beatings last night, and I don't think I want to talk about that again tonight. But yes, it was naked, and it was quite humiliating. And even more humiliating was the fact that it was typically done in front of people. Typically. So, like I said, every one of the boys, we would have to strip and stand in a circle, waiting on our turn. So, yeah. My grandma died in the custody of caregivers in Manning, South Carolina. The whole case was open. She had bruises and all type of... Yeah. They also took her phone. Hold on a minute. Penn. Is Dwayne related to the Johnsons that were in government powers? I don't think so. Jump out. Let me read this. had access to her bank and other mess. Man in South Carolina, Alclu are all in cahoots with each other. To this day, justice still hasn't been served. Them same people in Manning still doing the same thing as before. My goodness. Well, oh boy. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and Jamal Smith, I get it in regards to when I'm on the counseling side of things as a pastor, I start off with that as well. That it's two sides to every story. Let me hear both sides. Yada yada yada. The first thing of it is you would never even get their side. Honestly, you would get what they want to say in response to what I have said. And what it's going to be, it's already started. He's a liar. He's a manipulator. Someone texted someone and said, I'm mentally ill. I am an educator. I graduated college. I teach. There's nothing wrong with my mind. There's not one thing. There is not one thing wrong with my mind. I'll tell you what I am. I'm tired of this. I'm fed up. We tried to send a message, but I think because we are paid, we would be glad to your way and help expose it. Our page was started. Exposing dirty Southern money. Send a message. Okay, I'll deal with that. And so, I'm tired. I'm so fed up with this being a situation. So fed up with this being a conversation. So fed up with the fact that he's still walking around here with his nose in the air like he is God's gift to creation when he is the spawn of Satan himself. That's exhausting. And it's exhausting because it's been years. Thank God for getting my mother. Beautiful. I'm happy for that. But is my grandmother going to die there? And let's talk about people dying there. When you die, from what I understand, there are no funerals. Your body is cremated and it goes wherever it goes. And they cash in on the life insurance policy. So we wouldn't even get that. Thank God my mother's out so we can enjoy life with her and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I was supposed to be off of here at 11 o'clock. At the end of the day, my grandmother, should she die there, we wouldn't even know what happened. Might not even know that she died. They wouldn't have the decency to tell us. So this is what we're up against. This is what I'm contending with. This is what's in my mind. Chrissy Richardson, that's a funny conversation because the last person I know of that died was sent down to Florida to die. Let's not talk about how they stole members' houses and had them committed and are still doing crooked stuff like this. Getting people to mortgage houses and getting loans put on houses and all kind of craziness. Still to this day. Getting credit cards in people's names. And now, I remember Ariel White being our youth leader when I was way a kid. So she was in it before me and before they kicked her out. But she wasn't down here. She was up in New York. Spending it. What are they doing with the money from the bounce house? Same thing they do with everything else. Spending it. Living La Vida Loca. Exactly. The victims are always accused of being wrong, but the wrongdoers aren't. That's the problem. Sounds like they have a lot of people in high authority. It's not that many. About 5, 6, 7. It's really his family. And he has 7 siblings. 1 passed away. 1 doesn't deal with him. So it's about 6 of them. That's who's in control. I remember when hold on a minute. I know this man. Sweet and blessed. Okay, so somebody asked me, how did we get involved in this? Here is your answer. Brother, I'm sorry you went through that, but you're just hitting the nail on the head. I remember when your grandmother and grandfather first came to the church, sweet and blessed people. I was a member of that church his father ran, and also left the church in disagreement. Now, my grandfather and grandmother came to the church. I don't know when that happened because I wasn't born yet. I know I was born into the church, and that was 1991. And we moved to South Carolina in 1998. So, I think that we've kind of talked about a lot tonight. I hope I've shed some light. I will say, you will be hearing more. There will be updates. There will be those. There will be those that, excuse me, that come on to tell their own stories. But the biggest thing that you're gonna see is you're gonna see me do my best to tell the story from beginning to end without jumping around. Now, let me tell you why that's hard. In the middle of talking about one thing, you'll remember something else, and you'll get sidetracked. And I have a list that I've been keeping to make sure that I stay on what I intended to talk about. And even in answering some of your questions, I'll answer your question and get sidetracked thinking about something while answering your question. Someone asked, is there a book? I have sat down several times to write a book. I just struggle to get, and I used to be, so part of childhood trauma, I used to be a writer growing up. And when we moved to Alkaloo, I had a brown box. The day we moved to Alkaloo was very, very, very crazy. We threw away so much stuff, personal items, because Ella Johnson told us, you're not dragging all of this where you are going. As a matter of fact, you're only taking 2 bags because you don't got that much room. And so we packed up what we could pack up. As a matter of fact, in that same conversation, you see what I mean? I'm trying to sign off of here and get off and something else. In that same day, my mother was trying to, so someone commented on something and talked about my mother not being able to keep a job. That's not true. My mother worked temp jobs, and when the temp job finishes with you, if you work for a temp agency, you know how it is. When they finish with you, they send you home. And so that was, I'm so glad you're mentioning this. Lord, help me. I'm trying to get off. And okay, I'm going to finish this story now. I'm going to talk about my grandfather because they didn't do my grandfather right. So I'm going to talk about him. Don't let me sign off of here without talking about my grandfather, Father Cleo Hunt. Please don't let me get off of here without talking about him. So we were packing up to leave where we were to move to Alkaloo. My mother had done some work keys, and she was trying to do things to get herself in a position to get a good job. What was in the pink cup? It was pink lemonade. That's crazy. What was in the pink cup? It was pink lemonade. I'm very thirsty. I remember Sister Johnson. My mother was digging through the bag trying to find something. I'm sure we threw away money that day. My mother was digging through. She had a blue and silver bag that she kept all her papers in, and she was digging through the bag. And Sister Johnson, Sister Ronnie, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? What you looking for? So in that bag. My mother said, I'm looking for my papers because I need these papers for school. School? You're not going to no school. You'll never go to no school. Throw all of that stuff away. And what did we do? We went and got that blue bag and put it on the trailer that was going to the dump. Now, this story started with me talking about writing, but you see what I'm telling you? That when I start a story, think of something else, and it just... So, along with all of the stuff that went in the trash, I had a cardboard box with every book I had ever written. Every poem I had ever written. I used to write all the time. That was how I expressed. Someone asked yesterday, how did I go to school and deal with all of this? I wrote. I created fantasy worlds for myself. Those were my coping skills. I created a world and we played in this universe. My brother and I, we had the little Matchbox cards and we had our room set up like this town, and the dresser was our big mansion, and the bunk beds was we created a universe for ourselves. And I wrote. And the life that I wanted, I put in my writing. Well, that box was thrown out on that day. And from that day to this one, that was in 2008, I've only successfully completed 2 books. I struggle to get myself into it again. I keep trying. I got so many notebooks around here where I started writing things and then just set it down and didn't pick it back up. But I'm going to find a way to get my passion back. But I used to be a writer. I used to be an avid writer. Timeline flashback. Your grandfather had remodeled the church basement when I was 14 years old. I will be 61 this year. All right. So my grandfather, Father Cleo Hunt, Ella Johnson cannot stand him. So he writes this narrative of my grandfather beating my grandmother. Now, my grandmother and I talked about it, and she said beatings did not happen like that he did hit her one time. And I said if he hit her one time, he was wrong. He was just as wrong for the one time as if he had been doing it all the time. So I'm not excusing that. We don't beat women. Did you ever tell the teachers what was going on at school? Oh boy. Let me pin that, and we'll talk about that after I finish this story. So Ella Johnson never liked my grandfather, so he took that incident and exploited it to be that my grandfather was abusive and taking my grandmother's money, because everybody just after grandma's money. Now, the fact of the matter, and Nikki Moreno, from the sounds of it, their school was in relation of the church. So he's referring to before the school was open, because there was a point where all of us were in public schools before that school got opened in 2005. All right, so go back to my grandfather. They tell this story about 3 the hard way: Bishop R.P. Johnson, Elder Jackson, and Father Green. Interestingly enough, as honorable as those other 2 men were, my grandfather had an office in the church. The reason I know my grandfather had an office in the church is because I got my tail cut. Now, I ain't talking about I'm not talking about these ridiculous beatings that we talking about with Ella Johnson. This was, if I'm not mistaken, they ran the school he attended. Yes, I'll talk about the school in a minute. Let me finish this story. Yeah, so my grandfather, I done got beat in that office. Not by Ella Johnson. My grandfather, if I was cutting up in church, he was the father figure in my life. My grandfather was. And he had an office. But because of the fact that, yes, she is. Jordan Bailey, yes, she is. She's still there. Because of the fact that my grandfather stood up to him. So there was a house that was purchased in New York. My grandfather had something to do. The house is on Bayview Avenue in Bellport. My grandfather put the money up for the church to buy the house, but the house was in the church name. Because he put the money up to buy the house and remodeled that house, he was living there. When he got ready to leave, something happened and Ella Johnson got mad. Got on the road, went to New York to put my grandfather out of the house. Said, I want that nigga out of my house tonight. My grandfather one-upped him. He thought he was going to New York to put my grandfather out the house. My grandfather backed the U-Haul up to the... I love my granddaddy, y'all. I love Father Cleo Hunt. My grandfather this is my other sister, Devon Long. She's saying she remembers the house. My grandfather backed the U-Haul up to the house, cleaned the house, so by the time he got there, the house was empty. He sent them a letter telling them, I gave you your house back, but the church owes me the money that I put up for the house. Ella Johnson says, I'm told Ella Johnson said he's not giving him the money. My grandfather sued and won. Well, they wound up settling with him to give him the money. And from that day to this one, he can't stand that man. The man died. And interestingly enough, he died, but left my grandmother $5,000 that they didn't mind taking from her. Did you ever tell the teachers at school what was going on? I can't come out and say I told anyone explicitly what was going on. But I can't say that there were not signs. Too many people have come and said they were leery and they were weary of, they were concerned and questioned. So I can't say, and you know, as an educator, I get it to an extent. I get it. Now, that one principal whose name I won't call just because I'm not trying to indict him. But that one principal who gave Ella Johnson that powder, I have a real problem with him. I have a real problem with him because that never should have happened. But I think that, I'll say it like this. I think that Clarendon School District 2 kind of did us a little bit of a disservice with some of the powers that were in place at that time. I think they did us a little bit of a disservice. So it's 11:30, which is 30 minutes 30 minutes over what I intended to do. Yeah, it was. And the wooden one broke, so he went and got a plastic one that would not break. Please fix me some more of that lemonade. And bring it here so that they can see that I'm fixing lemonade so that people don't think I'm drinking anything inappropriate. I'm going to use my same cup. This cup is fine. Thanks. See? Lemonade. Well, it say lemon. Lemon. We don't drink here. I'm not knocking. They worked together with grant funding back then. Rose 9899274. What are you asking? Or are you making a statement? Yeah, lemonade, not tea. I don't. Ironically enough, I don't drink a lot of sweet tea. I thought about the girls I used to step with, Whitney or Whitley. Her name was Whitney. Her name is Whitney. She's affiliated with them. She probably has blocked me by now, but you might be able to find her. Whitney something. She's on Facebook. Hey, how you doing? This is one of my students. Bless your dear darling heart. How you doing? No, I'm sorry. I sent someone an invitation. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. Decline it or whatever. One of my students that I taught, I think. Clarendon School District 2. Yes. Clarendon School District 2 and the agency. Yeah, she is a flight attendant now. There was a grant. Yes, it was funded by a grant. Century 21. It was attached to the No Child Left Behind grant or something like that. And that's how they were able to take them children on trips and all kind of stuff. Well, not them children. I went on many of those trips as well. But yeah. Excuse me. So, I think we all can see where this is, and you know, I think that, who is this? Okay. I think that, you know, you have heard a lot of what I'm thinking. I do ask that you pray for us. Pray for my family and I. Pray for other people who feel like this, but they're afraid to say anything. Hopefully, people will, you know, get to a place where they can do something down there in Alcaloo with that organization. I will gladly report for the sake of those to whom might want to know. The story is getting out. The story is getting around. Bishop Rush, God bless you, sir. Pray for us. The story is getting out. TikTok, I'm looking at this number underneath my name. I don't know if this is number of viewers, but it says 34.6 thousand. So I don't know if that's number of people watching or number of people who have viewed or number of views. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means, but the story is getting out, and it needs to. And I make no apology. And I will say this, and this is what I leave with. I make no apology for being the one to sound the alarm, because I've been trying to sound the alarm for years. It been needed to been sounded. All right. So I'm going to. You did good, brother, but you also. Oh goodness. My TikTok name is DJ Long 0. No, I'm Lord help me. I'm talking about 0. DJ Long 971 is the TikTok. Oh, okay. Okay. Number of people that have passed through and viewed at any point. Okay, got you. That makes sense. All right. All right. Those someone else is saying those are likes. Okay, whatever they are, that number up there says 34.9 thousand. And I think that is an incredible number. Y'all have showed off. So I will give you the date. I will give you the numbers. And now, please hear me. We all like to be heard, and we all like to be feel like we're getting something done. All of that good stuff. But this is not about fame or nothing like that for me. This is please, what is your real name? Please tell me your real name. What made you go get your mom? She said she was ready to go. She said she was ready to go. That he fussed her out about money. Said she was using my grandmother's money to pay for trips, and my mother said that she had been paying for her own trips for the past few years. But he fussed with her he got in her face too much. And she realized she don't mean nothing to them. And so she said this is it. She's gone. She's done. So I can't access a calculator. Somebody get a calculator up for me so I can give you the numbers. When you have someone who has a calculator, let me know. Let me know when you have a calculator, and we're gonna do some math real quick. But the numbers are incredible. The story is getting out. People are being aware, and that's what it's all about. No, it's not a home for the elderly. It's his house where he puts his members. It's his house where he puts his members. As a matter of fact, I don't need a calculator. I can do this on paper. So the very first live that I did was 55.9 thousand views. The second one, 36.7 thousand views. The third one, 152,000 views. The fourth one, 71,000 views. The fifth one, 18.2 thousand views. The first one from last night, 26.9 thousand views. Never mind. Don't worry about it. I'm not even gonna answer. I'm not even gonna add all of this up. I'll just tell you what it is, because I don't do math like this. The second video from last night was 16.6 thousand views. The one from tonight is currently at 9.3 thousand views, and on TikTok you have that massive number from tonight for 36.1 thousand views. The word is getting out. So those of you who've seen the very first live will remember, and if you don't remember, you can go pull it and watch it. I said to the people that have faith, and I quote, "This is war." You gonna know whether or not I loved my grandmother. God has, yeah, yes, yes. Someone on TikTok just said it. It's God. God has breathed on this because I know it's God because I've been talking about this for over a year now. And even before that, I've been talking about it, but I went public with some things 3 years ago and then got more emphatic about talking about it. Um, so in order to attend the church, you have to live on his land. There were some people who did. There are some people who don't. But if he wants you to live on the land, you gonna live on the land. Okay, I understand that. Someone said I'm watching you from now on TikTok so I can stay more anonymous. I don't know who you are, but I respect that and I can understand why. I respect that and I can understand why. Not everybody wants to be. Have you considered calling the TV station? I have not, but they have been tagged and I am distinctly aware of the fact that the TV station is aware. But Ty Obama, yeah, some people do not live on the land, but most do. And at one time, yes, all did. He made everybody move into the houses in Akalu. I'm seeing a lot of people, and I will say that. I will say this. If you are on Facebook and are not comfortable with Facebook and you want to do the TikTok thing to protect your identity and all that, cool, I get it. I understand that fully because I know that I must have missed something. Angie Yates, did you just get on? If you just got on, you missed a lot. You missed everything because we about to go. But you can go back and watch it. But if you have a question about something, you ask your question and I'll answer it. But yeah, so y'all have helped. And y'all have helped me to do something that I've been trying to do for years, which is to simply bring awareness. Thank you so much. Cuppy Duda, I think I thank you so much, and I think I know who you are. Thank you. I'll send you a message on TikTok. Thank you so much. So the one thing I want you to take away from this is every voice matters in this saga. If any one of us could have done anything by ourselves, it would have already been done. The reason that this has gone on as long as it has is because nobody, he tried his best to break you. He did. He did. He didn't realize I'm, flexible. I don't break easy. No, I don't break easy. If you just got on Miss Yates, it'll be up. We've just been talking over some things. But the other thing is we can't just be mad and shocked and upset and emotional. We have to be intentional in our actions. That's the only way anything is going to get done. The other thing I will say is maybe, I know there are a lot of people who have their own stories. I'm sorry, forgive me for being who I am. I can't help but think the way that I do. Perhaps, maybe we should think about survive and have faith in person. Do an in-person gathering somewhere in Manning. And invite DSS and the Sheriff Department to hear those who are willing to talk about what they know and what they experience. I don't know if that will work or not, but maybe it's worth a try. But we'll think over those things and we'll figure it out. Bishop Rush, we're still trying to figure out what next steps are. We don't know what next steps are. We're just talking, and really, I think we're all finding out things that some of us didn't even know. I thought I was coming on here to talk about what I know, and then I found out a lot of stuff I didn't know. But in any case, it is now 11:51, and they got switches out now if you need one. Listen, sir, I promise you, I got good life insurance, but if anything should happen to me, Somebody better do an investigation. Oh, mercy. If anything should happen to me, somebody better do an investigation because them people done knocked me off a bridge somewhere. And it's Okaloo, South Carolina. We know they got a history. My degree is in history. We know they got a history. Be done got me back there on Cooter Creek Road all the way in the back end. Be done George Stinney my behind. No, sir. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Everything's fine. And everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. All right. Listen, I love y'all. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for so much for joining in. Thank you for being a part of the solution, not contributing to the problem. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good night. I'm gonna end. Okay, so I need to end TikTok. That's all. My hand all in the camera. Go live for 24 minutes.